Let's jump into mine. I mean, I this was a movie that obviously, I mean, it's a huge pop culture, just a constant. I've heard seen little clips and the scenes and I just never, I don't know, I somehow never really saw it. Princess Bride, just never, how many chances or whatever, just never saw it. Anyway, so watched it with the lovely Ash the other night, and the greatest part, Ash goes, I go, "You've seen Princess Bride, right?" She goes, "Yeah, I love that movie. I love it." I go, "Okay," you know. And then about 30 minutes in, she goes, "Wait,
Have I seen this?
wait, hold on. I don't. I think I thought this was another
Oh
movie that I
man.
I liked." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So you're really enjoying it?" She's like, "Yeah, you know." So that was Ash's contribution to this, of just kind of being like, "Oh, I confused it with something else I actually like." Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies that I thought it had some very interesting, kind of cute elements and stuff. I just I don't know, man. I just
Yeah.
it's not it's a movie for me that I was just like I kind of get it. I mean, the entire time I was just kind of waiting for something.
Yeah, so you're waiting to feel
Something
something
to
because you know that
Yeah.
you should, since you've heard about this fucking movie for your entire life, and yeah,
Right, and yeah, I mean, I guess it's more of a sum of its parts kind of movie, you know what I mean,
right.
to me. But kind of, I guess interesting, but to me, it just kind of,
Not.
I don't know.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
glad you said that because I'm not gonna lie, because I've seen The Princess Bride years ago, but yeah, I kind of have the same feel where it's got cool parts of it, and like I guess like the acting moments and like some of the character moments I like, but like a lot of other stuff I kind of like don't feel that much for, and maybe it was cooler in the 80s or whatever. Like it feels kind of dated, especially the sets. Like the sets I remember feeling like, oh, these all look like sound stages and like fake rocks and stuff.
right. I mean, they all, yeah. It looked like not a little bit nicer than a high school play,
Yeah.
but maybe like not a lot
Yeah, yeah.
nicer, And I just kept watching. I'm trying to remember his name. The Westerly, the main character,
Oh, Carrie
Carrie
Ewells.
Elwes.
Ewells. Yeah.
Eels. And I go, oh god, like I'm just watching Men
Well,
in
that's the
Tights,
thing is, I
Robin Hood
think
Men in Tights. It's a
Men
lot
in
of the
Tights
same
probably
sets, probably.
ruined. If you see Men in Tights before you see The Princess Bride, it probably ruins The Princess
Oh,
Bride for you.
absolutely.
Um,
I mean, that's all I'm seeing.
and
You know what I mean?
poor Carrie Ewells, I feel like he never got past. Like I know he's been in other movies, but like he will always be Robin Hood Men in Tights or Princess Bride or same character. You know what I mean?
right. I mean, I was like, he's also was such a big part of
Yeah,
Saw.
yeah.
That I kind of have that same vibe. When I'm seeing him and everything. But yeah, so that kind of ruined it for me. I didn't realize. I was like, That's Robin Wright. Damn, that's
Yeah.
like a real young Robin
Yeah, she
Wright.
was like
So
17 or like 18, or like she was young. Like I don't know, she was even like 18 yet or whatever when she filmed. She was definitely in that like Jennifer Connelly kind of same, like in The Labyrinth, kind of like really really young like starlets that ended up becoming like Hollywood for the next 2 decades or 3 decades or whatever.
yeah, that's what's weird. Like, because I'd never seen it, so I was just diving into the different, the castings and things like that. That's what I always find interesting. Like, who could have
Played.
done these
Yeah.
roles, and it's just like, I mean, they said Rob Reiner saw like 500 girls, Courtney Cox, Uma Thurman, Whoopi Goldberg, even Meg Ryan,
Of course, Meg Ryan.
and it's just like Jesus, you know what I mean? Yeah, just
It,
just kind of interesting to see how Uma Thurman went off and did that. She did another like kind of medieval movie. I
Oh,
wanna say,
she
back
did.
in the-
Wasn't she in Baron Munchausen or something? She was in like a Terry Gilliam movie, I think. Around
Yeah,
then,
that sounds
something
right.
Like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was crazy. What about Rob Reiner, man? Like Rob Reiner is such a weird career to me because he has such a good run with those first like 6 or 7 movies, and then it's just all trash, just like all the way down.
Well, because what did he did? Did he do Stand by Me the year before this, or and then he did Spinal Tap and then
I
Stand by
think it was
Me,
Spinal
right?
Tap
And then
was
this.
first. Yeah, but all of his like best movies, I think, except for A Few Good Men, are all like within like a 5-year period or something like that. And then yeah, he's got a few hits in the 90s, and then like I think around the time he did North, like he had a couple good movies after that, but like shortly thereafter, like usually the 2000s, I feel like a lot of filmmakers that were really good in the 80s and a little bit in the 90s, like the 2000s is the death knell. It's like when like William Friedkin, he's got like a couple movies out there, and then after Killer Joe or whatever, it just disappears. Yeah, but it's just weird that Reiner would be drawn to this subject matter, because like the one thing about his first few movies is they're all totally different vibes and genres and things like that, and the fact that and Misery too. Yeah, like the fact that he's able to change gears like that and do like a fantasy kids movie now.
He did Misery before he did Princess Bride?
Yeah, Misery I think was one of his first breakouts. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure.
Jeez.
But yeah, I mean, so the only things that really stick with me about the Princess Bride is that one shot with the was it the manta ray or some sort of eel or something like that?
Yeah, the eels. Yeah, and then I was like, oh shit, oh cool. It's like I'm getting Neverending Story vibes, where it's gonna have these ridiculous kind of cool like monster type things, and then it just became kind of am I watching Robin Hood? Like it's very like let's go rescue the damsel from the Sheriff Nottingham kind of vibes, and
yeah.
I thought it was fun how he kind of defeats the henchman.
Oh, Walter.
Andre the Giant. Yeah, and Inigo, is that Inigo?
Indigo Montoya. Something like that. Yeah.
Inigo, I want to say. Okay. Yeah, and I thought those scenes were great. I like. The kind of the banter between, when he's the man in black and he's climbing the rope and they're just like, oh, throw me the rope and I'll get there faster and then you can kill me faster and blah, blah, blah. And, Andre the Giant is kind of adorable, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, oof, God, like he dies like 3 years later.
Oh, really? I didn't realize it was that soon.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah. Like I think he died at like 46 or something. Yeah, I was like, let me just take this opportunity to like reread the Andre the Giant drinking stories, you know what I mean? So that was basically because apparently like on set, because I think they filmed it all in England, and
was he just getting loaded the whole time, or
loaded?
How much does it take to get that guy loaded though? Like
did quite a bit, but I just. Like the more research I did about just Andre the Giant, where like he basically did the movie because he had a match cancel in Japan, and then that kind of freed him up to be able to do it. But then his back was so jacked up that like he couldn't do a lot of the scenes. And so like the scene where he's fighting the man in black, Westerly, and he's on his back and they're running around, like that whole thing. He has like a way smaller body double person doing that because he couldn't handle carry what's his name's weight on his back, and then everything had to be shot weird to have like supports, like the scene where he catches Buttercup out of the window. They had like she basically got dropped like a foot away, and had like a back brace on him and all this stuff, and just it kind of bummed me out when you learn all the details about like, oh, he's probably just in severe pain the entire time. I could barely understand him, right. You know what I mean? I know he like that's just how he sounds and everything, but like yeah, he took like Robin Wright out to her like a dinner, and drank like a case of wine apparently, as legend has it. You know what I mean? Like. I just pulled up. I went through, like, people have collected them. I'll go through the greatest hits, you know what I mean? But
everyone's got an Andre the Giant story. Sorry, where's it?
Well, there's a bunch of people that have stories, yeah. And, like, people have collected them. There was an instance, 1975, he drank all the vodka on a flight. Sorry. He drank 106 beers on the flight. Jesus. He drank 6 bottles of wine before a wrestling match one time. He drank 12 bottles of wine on a bus ride in Japan with Hulk Hogan. All of a sudden, hotel room. He drank 102 beers in 45 minutes before a flight. He had a layover. Jesus. He calls Hulk Hogan. He's in Florida. He's in the Tampa airport. He says, I've got a 1-hour layover. Hulk Hogan's like 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away, or whatever. Drives to the airport. This is pre 9/11, obviously, where you could just do this. Hulk Hogan just drives to the airport, goes to the Delta Lounge, hangs out with Andre the Giant for 45 minutes, and he had 102 beers
Jesus Christ.
in that time.
So I didn't realize him and Hulk Hogan were that tight back in the day.
yeah, I mean, I guess, it's
Or I
all
guess
wrestling.
drinking buddies,
It's all
yeah, like
wrestling stuff.
co-workers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, he apparently he had a habit where he would drink 40 ounces of various liquors poured into a pitcher,
Jesus.
and he would just drink. He would just have them in multiple sittings.
Oh, man.
Because that was one that came from Cary Elwes in a Vanity Fair interview. He said he preferred something stiffer, specifically the American, a concoction that consisted of 40 ounces of various liquors
Jesus.
poured into a pitcher.
Jesus.
Elwes said that Andre would drink several of these in a single sitting.
my
I've never
God.
tasted airplane fuel, he said, but I imagine it's very close to what must taste like.
God.
It's very potent. I remember coughing a lot, but to him it was like chugging water.
Wow.
He unofficially drank 156 beers in one sitting.
Jesus.
That's 1,872 ounces or 14.6 gallons of beer.
Oh, my God.
The average human stomach can typically hold about a liter. Jesus. There was a time in Kansas City where the bartender told Andre he could only stay in the bar if he was drinking. So Andre thanked him and proceeded to order 40 vodka tonics. He sat there drinking them one after another, finishing the last at just after 5 in the morning. There's one where he pounded 2 cases of beer during an hour-long car ride. One night in Sarasota, Andre is traveling with us, so we pull over and get 2 cases of Tall Boys. By the time we get from Sarasota to the Tahitian Inn on Dale Mabry, the 2 cases were bone dry. That can't be good for your health.
Yeah, I mean, I assume, like, you kind of probably drink for the pain a little bit over time.
I mean,
but, like,
yeah,
I'm sure that wasn't great for his liver or other health
Well,
problems.
apparently he was 500 pounds, so
That's
it's like
insane.
his liver must have been the size of my if I have a body
like
part.
your torso or something. Like,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
arm.
You know what I mean? Like my gut or something. I don't know. Just but I mean, my God, dude. You know what I mean? Can't be good for you.
Yeah.
But I thought he was delightful. I liked
Yeah,
him.
he was, like the actors in it. I think are pretty great. Wallace Shawn obviously is pretty amazing, and
Yep. Well, that scene, I think I couldn't like focus on that scene.
the one where he's switching
So I'm
the
trying to-
poisons or whatever.
Switching the
Yeah.
poisons and back and forth and back and I was just like, oh, look at Reddit for a second, come back, and it just, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
come back, So I remember looking up and he just collapses, and I'm like, oh, I guess he.
Yes.
But he put poison in both glasses or something, but he was immune
Yeah,
to
I
the
think
poison.
he built
I'm
up
trying to
a
remember.
tolerance to it before. Yeah, I think Wallace Shawn. I could be wrong, but I think he was like, this was right around like My Dinner with Andre or something like that. So I think he was like,
Right, which is also on HBO
oh,
Max,
nice. Well,
if you're interested.
it's a good pairing with Wonder Woman or something like that. But yeah, I think he was like such a big figure in like kind of that like Manhattan intellectual community or whatever, that maybe it was like, him being a smart aleck is kind of like a play on like, his general vibe or whatever, his image and shit.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was great. Danny DeVito, they wanted him to play the role, but it went to Wallace. So, but Danny DeVito would have been perfect in that troll, bossing around, mongering
totally.
role. And
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. I always like these kind of castings of I thought it was crazy that Arnold Schwarzenegger was into it, but then he blew up and he got too expensive.
So was he going to be the
by time they
Carrie
actually started
Mules
making
part or whatever? Like, I can't picture that at all. That would have been.
He was
going to
be the
bananas.
Fezzik. He was going to be Andre the
Oh,
Giant.
okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about
Danny
sorry?
DeVito was supposed to be Fazzini,
okay?
or was up for it. That's who Rob Reiner wanted, but Danny DeVito was pretty.
He was
big
doing
star by
Twins
then.
with Arnold at that point or something.
Yeah, but I mean, they offered it to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Liam Neeson auditioned to play the Andre the Giant part,
Really?
Fezzik. And
I mean, I know he's tall,
uh,
but like he's not like I feel like he needs somebody.
he's not
yeah,
that
exactly.
tall. No, I mean, you literally have a giant. You know what I
Exactly.
mean, like I can't imagine anyone else kind of in the role. You know what I mean? So, but I didn't understand. The man's name is Mandy. Mandy.
Are you talking about Mandy Patinkin?
Yeah.
What, are you talking about?
Mandy
He was the
from,
Inigo Montoya, the dude from Homeland.
Yes. From Homeland. That's Criminal Minds. Is it Criminal Minds?
Something like
is
that.
on, too?
He's
There's
like
a
one of
few
those
different
guys.
things.
I didn't realize old Mandy Patinkin was. Yeah, I didn't realize Mandy Patinkin. Like I knew the name, and I didn't realize the old guy from Homeland was Mandy Patinkin, and that. I kind of knew Mandy Patinkin. It's kind of like Joe Piscopo. Like I kind of know certain people more from name, and I could not tell you like what they're famous for, or
Yes.
you know what I mean.
Totally. Just interesting.
Yeah.
But
Was-
are you ready for the? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, was anyone like big thought of for Robin Wright's role or the two leads or anything?
Yeah. So Robin Wright. I mean, we kind of talked about Uma Thurman, Whoopi Goldberg,
right,
or whatever.
duh.
But I think Christopher Reeve was up for kind of the lead role, but didn't work out. And then Rob Reiner just really liked Carrie.
Good old Carrie.
There you go. Fred Savage.
Oh yeah, so that's what I wanted to ask. So the whole thing with fucking what's his name, Matlock and Fred Boy Meets World, or not Boy Meets World, Wonder Years. How did you feel about the wraparound story? With Fred Savage, and Columbo. That's what I meant.
I didn't think it was that bad. Yeah, I mean, it I guess you had to figure out some way to kind of, I don't know. I mean, to me, it was kind of interesting, but that it was like this long old book, and then the whole book has like this. I was reading just the Wikipedia page for the book, basically, but
is the book famous?
Where,
is that like a known?
Yeah, I think the
children's-
book's semi-famous. Because he basically the guy who wrote the book, I think is William Gibson. I'm trying to remember, but he wrote.
It's not William.
He wrote
Gibson,
it as
I don't
if
think.
it's no, not William Gibson, but it's what's his name, William Goldman. There you go.
Okay, gotcha.
But he posed it as if it's like a Hans Christian fairy
okay.
tale thing. So he writes this book, but then attributes this other author as the actual writer of it, and then he's basically just introducing this story that someone else wrote. Like that's
there's
how
like
the book is
there's
posed.
like a bookend thing in the book itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the book is very meta, apparently. So it's just like, it's one man's telling of another, like a long told fairy tale kind of a thing. So I think that's the device they decided to use so that it didn't seem. I guess it's unnecessary because you could just straight out just make this movie.
Yeah, So like
without all.
I guess if you're trying to stay true to the book, that's where the Fred Savage kind of adaptation comes in. But that's one of the things. Not having known that it was based on a previous book or any of that sort of stuff you just told me, like that's one of the things that always kind of stood out to me. Like I thought all of the stuff between Fred Savage and the grandpa was like cute and good. Like I think the scenes are good, but it's so feels like it's out of like a fucking sitcom or something, especially considering like they were both big TV actors at the time. Like it feels like somebody just changed the channel on the thing I was watching, and like it still never feels like it totally connects. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's a distracting little story. Usually when there's like a story within a story, there's like more of a meaning. Like there's like the story within the story kind of connects to the outer world more, and like I feel like this is just like, oh yeah, Grandpa read a story to his kid and the kid liked it, and the end. You know what I mean?
You just want to talk about The Notebook, right?
I've never seen The Notebook.
So the Notebook does basically the same thing. I don't want to
Really?
ruin it for you, but basically it does something similar.
Interesting.
So I'm sure someone's screaming at us right now. But,
How
there you
dare
go.
you?
Well, maybe that could be your next one.
Oh,
Man.
Christ.
That could be your next. That could be your next.
You don't want to go watch Cool
classic.
Hand Luke, but you'll watch The Notebook.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm down for either one.